Yes,
And
ma'am.
I think, yeah, if you have subscribed the channel, then notification would have reached you. The channel is by, I think, BA Literature के नाम से है ना channel. I think that channel is there, but those who have got the link can share that. है ना? And I think all of you would be having by now link. I'm not very sure about it, but you can check that, or you can ask me, send me a message, and I'll send you the link. Right now, just a revision of what we had done yesterday. I want to tread very softly on this path, because this is going to become complicated gradually. So basics should be understood very properly, and there are 2 units actually on this particular subject itself. So it should be understood very. Structuralism has not come into existence when Saussure is writing, but he laid the foundation of this movement or theory, structuralism. Okay, and later different theorists they came, and then they just developed it. Okay, but Saussure is, as I just told you, he is the one who initiated it. Okay, and that is why he is called father of modern linguistics. Right now, I told you that since we are revising, so repetitions are going to be there. Saussure, Ferdinand de Saussure, was born in November 1857. It's clear now, not 1851 as I said yesterday, it is 1857. Okay, and he laid the foundation of modern linguistics in 20th century. 1906 to 1913 he had delivered his lectures, and those got published. So it is 20th century. Foundation of structuralism was laid down by Ferdinand de Saussure, who was born in Geneva in 1857. Right, this is what we had done. Then I told you his lectures, they were published together into a book form by his students, and the title of the book was Course in General Linguistics, and it was published in 1916. Okay, now as we are discussing about this person who is born in Geneva, his father, he was a scientist. Okay, and Saussure, he had interest in Sanskrit, as I told you, and he had studied Patanjali, Panini, Bharathari. This is very important. Just you see the power of Sanskrit. You know, he was professor of Sanskrit also for some time in one of the universities, and I don't remember exactly this university. You can search it on net and you will get that. And he also he also studied Germany. So German, sorry, and so he was a professor of German and Sanskrit. Right, and then we discussed what are the major concepts that he gave in structuralism. In that we discussed sign, signifier, signified. This we did yesterday. Okay, na? Now you know as we move further, structuralism is not only about language, but it is also about how do we understand various structures that are found in the society. So it also plays a role in philosophical, in the field of philosophy. Okay, so these people who are structuralists, they argue that all the entities that we have, human beings, their position, all the text, they are, Vishakha is waiting in the lobby. Okay, Okay, so these all they have some definite structure. Now in structure देखो आपने बच्चों को देखा होगा, they play with building blocks.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, you purchase them building blocks, and now you see that what are these building blocks? They are plastic pieces, right, of some very bright colors. Now you see each piece, okay, that is a constituent or a piece. What is piece? Piece is a part of something, right? And what do these children do? They join these pieces, right? And then they try to make some building. Building is basically structure. Okay, so suppose when all these pieces are lying there, these building blocks are lying there, so will you call that a structure? बिल्डिंग ब्लॉक्स जो एक साइड पड़े रहते हैं, एक उसका ढेर, will you call that structure? No, they are just pieces. Okay, उसको आप aggregate बोल सकते हैं, they are aggregate. Now what the child does? Child makes or constructs a structure out of that. Okay, he gives it a form. So what is structure? When the constituents are placed in some particular way, in some right way. Right word I am using just in order to explain this. So a structure is formed from the building blocks, and when building blocks are just all put together at one place, then it is not a structure. In the similar way, you know, all these letters are lying at one place. आप बच्चे थे तो आपने ABCD लिखा, E लिखा, kakha gaga and all that. So what are they? They are just like blocks, building blocks. Okay, and these blocks or these letters, when they are put in some particular way, like BOY, then a word is formed. Okay, so that is, there is a placement of these letters, and when these letters are placed in a particular way, a structure is formed. The structure of what? Word. Okay, in a similar way, when these words are put in a particular sequence, then a sentence is formed. Okay, a boy is playing with a ball. Aggregate क्या होगा? Ball with a, play boy, right? So what is this? This is just an aggregate. Building blocks are just lying down, and when you place it and you form a sentence, that sentence is a structure and it is made meaningful. BYO, OBY, it doesn't make any sense, right? They are just like building blocks, and when you have placed them in particular sequence, then what has happened? That a word is formed, a structure is formed, and in the similar way a sentence is formed. Now these sentences, when they are placed in a sequence, एक तो होता है बहुत सारे sentences हैं jumbled way में, you do not know what has happened, so that is building block. Okay, but when these sentences, they are arranged in particular way so that a meaning comes out of it, then it is sentence structure. Right? So this is what we had discussed yesterday. Sign is signifier, signified, ये किया था कि sign, कोई भी sign है उसके दो components हैं. One is signifier and other is signified. So basically what is happening, that when I utter a word, what I have done, in my brain, there is a sound image that is formed, that there's a concept that is formed, right? कि ये बोलना है, तो a concept is formed, and that concept is then changed into a sound image when I utter that word. Okay. एंड दैट साउंड इमेज प्रोसेस उल्टी हो जाएगी जब आपके पास पहुंचेगी, तो यू गेट व्हाट साउंड इमेज. आई गॉट अ कॉन्सेप्ट in my brain, and that concept I changed into sound image. But when it went to you, you received sound image. I received concept, you received sound image, and that sound image went to your brain, and it formed some concept in your brain, right? एक brain में concept बना. तो when I gave you, what I gave you is a sign that is signifier, okay? And what your brain did is it formed a signified. That means there's a concept formed in your brain. Okay? Now till here we had done yesterday. Now I would like to share presentation which I did not do yesterday, right? And okay, I think now you should be able to see that. Can you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Someone can see,
Yes,
someone
ma'am.
cannot. Why? What's the reason?
Yes, ma'am. It is
मेरे में तो आ
visible.
रहा है कि आप it's visible to you. Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
It's visible.
it's visible.
Ma'am, it is visible, ma'am.
Actually, with me there's a problem. Are you seeing all the slides together?
Yes, ma'am.
ये तो कोई problem. I would not be able to see it if it's not. Because for me it's going to be a problem. So just wait. Let me do it again. Just give me 2 minutes. No. This is not the one that I did. Just give me 2 minutes. क्योंकि मुझे ना सारे स्लाइड्स एक साथ दिख रहा है, तो लिखा हुआ बहुत छोटा छोटा दिख रहा है. दैट इज व्हाई आई एम अनएबल टू सी दैट. Yeah, now it should be okay. Just wait. Till it comes, just let me tell you what is language. Saussure gave that this concept that what is language. He said that language is a system of systems, right? इस अभी भी नहीं आया, देख सकते हो क्या अभी?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Now?
No, ma'am. It's not.
No, ma'am.
Oh, I think it should be visible to you. अभी भी नहीं हो रहा है.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Now?
No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank God. Right. So, now see what Saussure said. He said that language is a system of systems. That means there are so many systems involved, and all these systems, they work in a coordinated way to form the grand system. For example, just you see our body, there are different organs together. right? Now these organs, they are all arranged in one particular sequence. और तभी वो digestive system बनता है, like mouth, esophagus, and you see there's a stomach, then there are intestines. So there are so many organs, right? Now if they are lying together, they cannot function, can they? They will be just building blocks, right? And when they are arranged in one particular sequence, then what happens that their functioning begins. Okay, and now when there are many systems, like एक respiratory system hai, then you have digestive system, you have a nervous system, you have circulatory system, right? Excretory system. इतने सारे systems जब एक साथ काम करते हैं तब हमारा जो human system है वो काम करता है. In a similar way, language is also a living thing. That is why it is so much changing also. It's an organic thing. जैसे हमारी body is a living thing, right? In a similar way, language also breathes. Language is also a living thing. Our body is a system of systems. There are so many systems: excretory system, respiratory system, digestive system. They are all working as a human system, and it gives human life. In a similar way, language also is also a system, and it has many systems which are working together, and it gets life. ठीक है? And इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि every element in a system, it derives its significance, its importance from its relationship with the other elements of the system. एक system दूसरे system से related है. It is important because it has relationship with other systems, right? So now how did this structuralism develop? ऐसा नहीं कि Saussure for the very first time Saussure had said something. Aristotle had laid the roots of structuralism. Okay, what did he say? He said that there are very simple structures which form the basis of life. He identified simple structures as forming the basis of life, and he defined structure. He said that it can be defined as any conceptual system that has three properties. Wholeness, completeness. The system should function as a whole. Okay, then transformation. System should be living one. Okay, it is not static. The system should be dynamic. It should change. It should transform. Okay, and then self-regulation. Self-regulation means that the basic structure cannot be changed, but it is regulated by itself. There are certain rules that have to be followed, and then the transformation can take place, and transformation takes place in such a way that wholeness is not compromised. ये बात समझ में आई?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Is it difficult?
No, ma'am.
नहीं. तो अब इसको आप बिल्कुल ह्यूमन बॉडी की उसमें रख करके सोचोगे तो अपने आप समझ में आएगा, बिकॉज इट इज अपॉन यू एंड यू अंडरस्टैंड योर बॉडी, यू अंडरस्टैंड योरसेल्फ. ओके, तो स्ट्रक्चर, three properties are there of any structure. First is wholeness. That means it functions as a whole. Language should function as a whole, since we are studying language. Then it should be able to transform. That means it should have life and it should go on. It should be dynamic. It should not stay as it is. There is someone who has joined the class, I think. Let me see. Yeah, Robi Banu. Okay. Then the third, self-regulate. There can be changes. Now, what kind of changes? That there underlying there should be some rules. Those rules, because language is rule governed. Never forget this, that language is rule governed. There are certain rules according to which language works. Okay. Now, those rules cannot be changed. Then some transformations can take place, of course. So then sign, as we had discussed, so very quickly I will escape this. Sign combination, sign is a combination of, or sign has two components, you can say signifier and signified. Signifier is image, sound image, कुछ एक, since it is image, it is graphic. Okay, when I utter a word, there is a sound image that goes to you. So that is the mark that we make while writing it, or the sound which we make while uttering it. The signified is the concept that is formed in our brain. It is evoked when you get the sound image, then this concept is evoked in the mind of a reader or a listener. Okay. Now the two terms that I want to introduce today: lang and parole. Okay, what is language, lang, and what is parole? As I said, that language is a system of systems. This is the concept that Saussure gave to us. Every element in the system is important. Then he says that he gives us this concept of lang and parole. So what is lang? Now, our ability to produce speech, how the words should be written in some particular way, or how letters should be written in one particular way. There are certain rules through which this language system develops. And this language system is there, he says, in the mind of the speaker. Okay, and in a community, there's a community that speaks one particular language. Hindi community hai, English community hai, Bengali community hai. So every member of the community shares that language system. It is there in them. Okay, it shares the language system, and because of that, the members among themselves, they are able to understand each other. Right? So lang means rules or conventions. किस चीज के rules, conventions of phonology, how to pronounce, morphology, how the words are formed, syntax, how sentences are formed, and meaning, how meanings come out. Right? So what he is saying, that through lang, members of speech community, they share the properties of the speech. Okay, so lang is something which is very stable and it is systematic. There is some system in it. Lang is a storehouse, you know, that stays in our brain. हिंदी का हमारे पास, हमारी जो स्पीच कम्युनिटी हिंदी बोलने वाली है, वो जो लैंग है, it is very stable and systematic, and it is there in our in us, in our mind. Right? So lang means individual natural language viewed as structure or system. Lang is a system of internalized shared rules governing our national language, vocabulary, grammar, sound system, how it has to be pronounced, what are the rules through which these words are connected with each other, or the letters are connected to each other, vocabulary. Okay, morphology. Vocabulary means morphology, grammar is syntax, sound system is phonology. So how lang will denote what? System of internalized मतलब हमें कोई सिखाता नहीं है नेचुरल लैंग्वेज में. जो हमारी नेचुरल लैंग्वेज है, does anyone teach you how to speak? You learn it yourself. You internalize it inside you. And then these are the shared rules which are there in the community. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Because even the child is a member of that speech community, so child will internalize it within himself. He does not have to learn it formally, right? So lang means a language which is viewed as an abstract system. That speech community is using it. There are certain laws that rules that they are following it. Language is rule governed. Okay, there are some principles of language without which there can be no meaningful utterance. Right? And now this utterance, as I say, this is speech. जो हम बोलते हैं. Lang is there in our mind and it is passive. It is there in our brain. And there is a collective pattern in all the members of the speech community. But when we speak, then that speech becomes parole. What is parole? It is the individual speech act. Okay. So parole designates actual oral and written communication. जो हम एक्चुअल में लिखते हैं या बोलते हैं by a member of a particular speech community. Okay, so lang you can say is a rule or the rules of the sign system. It can be grammar, vocabulary, anything. So it is a sign system, the rules of the sign system, and how these rules are articulated. They are spoken. They are given the form. That is parole, whether it is in speaking or writing. So what is language? Language is actually lang plus parole. Lang, something that is in our mind, it is passive. Parole is what we speak out or write, that is active. What do you say now? Till here, I want your views. Is it clear or do you need some explanation of it? Parole के लिए क्या कहा मैंने? It is something which is active when you are speaking it or when you are writing it. So it is lang is coming in an active form. Okay, so when it is coming in active form, it becomes parole. So what is the function of lang? That lang keeps social order. There are certain rules. These rules, they are lying in our mind. Okay, and with these rules in mind, with lang in our mind, what we speak, right? That speaking is an active thing. So, and something which is lying in our mind is passive. So what we speak becomes parole. What do you say? Just take few minutes and think about it. So sure, course in general linguistics, father of modern linguistics. Linguistics is study of language. He says sign, signifier, signified. Signifier is sound image. Signified is concept. Okay. Then comes the slang and parole. What is language? Language is lang plus parole. Lang is rule governed. Language in itself is rule governed. So those rule governed part is there in our mind. For the natural language, that is our mother tongue, we do not need anyone to teach us. Okay, so that is something which is lying in a passive state in our mind, and that is a kind of a storehouse. So when we speak, we pick out the things from that storehouse and we speak or write. Okay, so what is there in the storehouse? There are the set of rules regarding how the words have to be formed, right? For example, any word you can take, as I said, the boy. Okay, so there is an image form. You utter that word, and how, you know, just for example, take any word like why. Okay, why के बाद आपके दिमाग में अपने आप आ जाएगा कि आपको क्या बोलना है. Either it is are or is. How के बाद क्या बोलना है आपको? Is or are. You don't think about it. You don't think about it. Why? If we talk about our mother tongue, it is easier, right? You don't think about it because that is there in your mind. That is lang. And the minute you utter it, it is parole. Okay, so it becomes active and it is parole. Right? Okay. Now going again to this presentation. I think I will have to correct because there is some problem that I have done with my presentation and it's not coming in a proper way. It should be easy and smooth. Okay. Now coming to the second part of it that we need to. दिखाई दे रहा है?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, again it is in that same mode. We can, yeah. Sign, as I told you, the language. Now the next two terms that we would be discussing tomorrow, just I want to begin with it, is synchronic and diachronic. How do you approach language? If you want to study language, then how do you approach language? In what way can you study language? There are two kinds of approaches. First is synchronic approach and other is diachronic approach. Okay, synchronic linguistics. It becomes linguistics now. Now, since it is linguistic study of language, you can make synchronic study of language. You can make diachronic study of language. There are two approaches. Now, synchronic linguistics is the study of language at a particular time. For example, you can study modern English. Okay, or you may study modern Hindi. Okay, the other way is diachronic linguistics. Diachronic linguistics means how the language developed. Basically, you understand what is horizontal and what is vertical. When horizontally you are studying, इस समय, आज के समय में हिंदी कैसे यूज होती है, कैसे बोली जाती है, कैसे लिखी जाती है, then it is synchronic linguistics. How Hindi developed from other right from the very beginning. If you make that kind of historical study, then it becomes diachronic linguistics. So synchronic linguistics will be descriptive. You will be analyzing different parts of the language, how the grammar is working together, right? And diachronic will be like you may be studying how it began, or how from the old times, how it has changed in this present time. So that is diachronic, that is vertical. Synchronic is horizontal, diachronic is vertical. This we will be doing tomorrow. Right? Yeah. So this we would be doing tomorrow. And is it? Can you see presentation now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
चलो अब हटा दिया मैंने
Yes, ma'am.
presentation. Now I think it is removed, right?
No, ma'am, we can still see the present.
Okay, never mind. Our time is up now, and just let me know that if you have understood it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it tough? Just frankly tell me.
No, it's not tough also, and it's not easy also. Like, it's like how we are going through the topic.
Yeah, I'm going very gradually, and in one class I am introducing just a couple of terms, so that you know you have time. I am telling you the next 2 terms also, which I am going to discuss in next class, so that you can study on your own also and be prepared for the next class. Right? Okay, then have a nice day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.